The House ethics report about Matt Gaetz is not just bad, it is epically bad. According to the committee, Gaetz violated House rules, state and federal laws, and frankly, common sense. They found substantial evidence of illegal drug use, prostitution, statutory rape, acceptance of impermissible gifts, the provision of special favors and privileges, and obstruction of Congress. No wonder Donald Trump, Speaker Mike Johnson, and the rest of MAGA were so hell-bent on killing this report. Gaetz even filed a lawsuit against the House Ethics Committee, hoping that it would block this damning report. However, considering that I and countless others have read this report, there was nothing that he could legally do, and his last-ditch effort failed miserably. And don't be fooled, Republicans knew all about Gaetz' activities. I mean, even Nancy Mace joked about it at a dinner despite being someone who has publicly shared her own experience with rape.
We all knew that Matt Gaetz would never let the vote get to 18. I hope that C-SPAN has a buzzer or a bleep because this shit is about to get real, okay? It only goes downhill from here. I do have a message from Matt this evening. He really, really wanted to be here tonight, but he couldn't find a babysitter. To be his date, I mean, come on.
So for anyone who has this question for Matt Gaetz...
Are you a pedophile? Are you a pedophile? Are you a pedophile, Congressman? Are you a pedophile? Are you a pedophile, Congressman Gaetz? Are you a pedophile? Congressman, are you a pedophile? Are you a pedophile, Congressman Gaetz?
Based on this report, the answer is yes. Matt Gaetz is a pedophile. Matt Gaetz has denied everything that he's accused of, but after reading this report, it does not look good for him. But don't worry, Matt Gaetz has many MAGA diehards defending him, like Kurt Schlichter, who's more upset that this is smearing Matt Gaetz' name, despite the fact that in this report, there is a mountain of evidence against him. Or like this guy, Ryan Grimm, who says that Matt Gaetz is good on a lot of stuff. Or Jimmy Dore, who thinks that people are scared of Matt Gaetz. Yeah, like his victims. Or Josh Dunlap, who stands with Matt Gaetz. Sorry, what was that? He's also a sex offender? Community Notes revealed that Josh Dunlap, who is one of Gaetz' biggest supporters, was sentenced to 4 years in jail for having sex with kids. This is when you would say birds of a feather and all that, but just to show you how chaotic things have gotten with Gaetz, let's dive into his Twitter meltdown over this bombshell report. Giving funds to someone you are dating that they didn't ask for and that isn't charged for sex is now prostitution? There is a reason they did this to me in a Christmas Eve report and not in a courtroom of any kind where I could present evidence and challenge witnesses. If you're trying to argue the semantics of prostitution, you've already lost. Gaetz is literally digging his own grave right now. Matt Gaetz desperately tries to make these payments sound like a normal transaction between people in a relationship. But what if I told you these real Venmo transactions from Matt Gaetz with captions that read, groceries, cartridges, tuition, relaxation, and stuff were actually to different women for one thing: sex. The ethics report revealed that Matt Gaetz paid Woman 1 over $63,000 between 2017 and 2020 and may have acted as a go-between for him and other women. Woman 1 asserted her Fifth Amendment right when asked whether the payments to her from Representative Gaetz were for sexual activity and or drugs, or for her to pass on to others for such purposes. Based on that assertion combined with evidence received from other sources, the committee found substantial reason to believe that most of these payments were for such activity. Don't worry, Gaetz kept digging by tweeting more. This is the trafficking victim claiming under oath that this characterization is false. That is not at all what it says. Gaetz is desperately trying to spin this report as a nothing burger, but let me remind you that he had sex with a minor. More testimony you won't see in the ethics report. This is clearly not prostitution under any conceivable definition. Again, if you're trying to debate the technical definition of prostitution, you are done. And despite Gaetz trying to argue that no money was discussed, there literally was discussion of money being exchanged in these text messages. But here are some of the most shocking details from the report. Among the ample evidence cited is proof that Gaetz purchased and used marijuana, including setting up a pseudonymous email account from his house office in the Capitol complex specifically for buying marijuana. Geez, talk about a high misuse of office.
Smoke weed every day.
It also highlights how Gaetz arranged for his chief of staff to assist a woman he had sexual relations with in obtaining a passport, falsely claiming to the State Department that she was a constituent. This raised red flags with the committee, as such requests were typically handled by district staff, making the chief of staff's involvement highly unusual. Then there was Gaetz' 2018 Bahamas trip, which read like a rejected script for The Hangover 4. The Ethics Committee report claims Gaetz accepted gifts in excess of permissible amounts, including lodging at a vacation rental paid for by a buddy, violating house rules that bans gifts over $250 without approval. Once there, Gaetz allegedly hooked up with 4 women, partied hard with drugs and alcohol, and later flew back on a private jet with 3 women and one of the guys, leaving the rest of them to catch a separate private flight. Clearly, Matt Gaetz does not like to follow house rules. Other parts of the report sounded like the Wolf of Wall Street, revealing that Gaetz used or possessed illegal drugs including cocaine and ecstasy on multiple occasions. One woman said that she saw Gaetz using cocaine or ecstasy at least 5 times, while his buddy Joel Greenberg claimed he regularly supplied the party favors, with Gaetz reimbursing them in cash. Which lines up with this story from Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin.
This is a guy that the media didn't give a time of day to after he was accused of sleeping with an underage girl. And there's a reason why no one in the conference came and defended him, because we had all seen the videos he was showing on the House floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with. He'd brag about how he would crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink so he could go all night.
This is yet another classic example of Republicans turning a blind eye to Gaetz' illegal behavior. Suddenly, they're all about accountability, but only when their own Republicans are on the line. This report leaves no room for doubt. Gaetz wasn't just helping out these women. The money he sent them was for sex. Remember woman number 1 and her $63,000 payday? Well, it turns out she was just one of many. Gaetz shelled out nearly $100,000 to at least 15 women, all for the same reason: sex on demand. Just look at these text messages about Gaetz getting set up with women to have sex with. According to the report, victim A 17-year-old at the time, recalled receiving $400 in cash from Representative Gaetz that evening, which she understood to be payment for sex. Florida law strictly prohibits anyone 24 or older from having sex with someone aged 16 or 17. It is a second-degree felony. The law places full responsibility on the adult, aka Matt Gaetz. The committee received credible testimony from victim A herself, as well as multiple individuals corroborating the allegation. Several of those witnesses have also testified under oath before a federal grand jury and in a civil litigation. Representative Gaetz denied the allegation but refused to testify under oath.
Suspicious.
He has publicly stated that victim A doesn't exist and that he has not had sex with a 17-year-old since I was 17. The committee found that to be untrue and determined there is substantial evidence that Representative Gaetz had sex with victim A in July 2017 when she was 17 years old and he was 35. The committee found no reason to doubt the credibility of victim A. Matt Gaetz is a creep. The report revealed that nearly every woman who spoke to the committee was so drunk or high during events with Gaetz that they couldn't recall the details. One woman testified that the heavy drug and alcohol use impaired her ability to fully consent, leaving her feeling violated. This is who Donald Trump wanted to appoint as the U.S. Attorney General. This pedophile was about to be America's attorney. But one of the more shocking details was how the report laid into the DOJ, calling them out for completely dropping the ball with Matt Gaetz. I mean, despite having mountains of evidence, the DOJ just decided to hit the snooze button on the investigation. The committee even points out that the DOJ's do-nothing approach had a chilling effect. Victims and witnesses were basically left in the cold, and the case got even more hopeless because of it. Despite the GOP being against sex offenders and pedophiles, they sure spend a lot of time and energy defending them.
And I think Matt's going to need to know that people have his back. Do we care what an ethics committee report says about Matt Gaetz? Do we love Matt Gaetz? Do we want Matt Gaetz back in the fight? Now look, I love the Herrings and One American News, a great news organization. You know, he gets his deal over there, does it, but Matt Gaetz has got to come back the first week of January and take the oath and sign up for this team, right? So I want MSNBC, we want to tell MSNBC and CNN where to stick it about Matt Gaetz, where the sun don't shine. We want Matt Gaetz back, right? Matt.
The Republican Party is lost and morally corrupt. They are the cause of their own problems and destruction, so you might as well grab a bucket of popcorn and enjoy the show. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to follow me at I Am Gabe Sanchez. Also, be sure to subscribe to the audio version of What Was That, perfect for when you're on the go or just relaxing. Catch every episode wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to help What Was That grow, please consider supporting my personal Patreon at patreon.com/IamGabeSanchez. Your support means everything. Until next time, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That?